Hey, welcome back to Soul Light Reflections. Before we jump into this episode, I have to be honest, I got this notification from the platform that I use to upload my podcast onto all of the major streaming platforms. And it said, hey, most podcasts like yours have 250 followers on average, and yours only has 99. And I was like, the hell? So I would absolutely love if you could take a second to go follow the podcast on the main podcast page, or depending on what platform you're on, it would either look like following or subscribing. It would seriously mean the world to me because I want you to be notified when more episodes come out. And I would love to have more interaction and more shares through this podcast because there's so much information, so much insight, so much wisdom to be shared, not just from me to you, but back and forth. And I think that energetic exchange is just so important, especially in today's day and age. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you in advance. Now let's jump into today's episode. Today's episode is full of all kinds of really simple ideas that you can easily incorporate into your daily life. I was thinking about all of the ways that I tend to make mundane tasks throughout my day really intentional. And I realized, I don't know that this is common knowledge. A lot of these tips are things that I've been doing for a really long time and kind of forget that, no, these could be really good tips that some people could learn from and utilize. So I'm going to give you 4 examples of like daily tasks that most of us have to do. And then hopefully from there, it'll give you a jumping off point of recognizing ways to work some more intentionality and some more conscious living into other aspects of your day. All right, so let's just jump right into it, shall we? So we're going to start at the beginning of the day with intentional shower practices. So the idea here is rather than looking at a shower as like this simple necessity, shifting your perspective to see it as a time to reconnect to your mind, your body, and just your essence, your soul. So before you even step into the shower, set an intention. How do you want to feel when you are stepping out of the shower? And how can you like reinvigorate this sense of your true essence during your time in the shower? Side note, one thing that I've been incorporating recently prior to my shower, like right before I get in, is dry brushing. This has been a really beautiful way to connect to my body and to know that I'm helping my lymphatic drainage system. So that's just another little caveat to this. I think my favorite and biggest tip is slow the fuck down. And this goes for every single task that I'm going to be going over today. But it's funny because I think that so many of us do a lot of nervous system regulation work, and then we're still rushing through these daily tasks, maybe because we just like want to get it done. But we forget that we can actually make it like a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more intentional. And so literally when you are in the shower, slowing down, like feeling the water coming down your body, like feeling the suds on your body, feeling all of the different aspects of this sensory experience. And when it comes to showering, I feel like sometimes we're in the morning, we have to, get out the door, go somewhere. But honestly, taking that an extra 10 seconds here and there throughout your shower is not going to make a huge deal. But it is going to make a big deal to your nervous system because it's going to remind you that you're not getting chased by a bear. We don't have to move super fast. I can take my time. I can be intentional. Another little tip is trying cold water, even if it's for like a minute or two. Practice deep breathing to help you through it. It's really hard to focus on anything else when you're cold. And so those running thoughts might be able to like turn off for a second, and you can literally just have a moment with your body. This is such a good way to practice just being in the present moment. You can also look up Wim Hof breathing techniques on YouTube. He's known as like the Iceman and really popularized cold plunges in like lakes and stuff. And he has a lot of videos out there all about like his breathing technique. And there are other types of breathing techniques that can help you to calm your nervous system when you're in a heightened experience, such as dousing yourself with cold water. Another tip is set the tone. Maybe dim the lights. Like in our bathroom, we have some like really nice colorful string lighting, and we can like change the color of the lights depending on like what our vibe is. Maybe burn a candle, light some Palo Santo or sage, play some music, like whatever your heart is feeling like it needs. Going along with the music, next tip is sing your fucking heart out or dance carefully. Blast some music, like be free. And if it feels awkward or it feels silly, just embrace it. Laugh about it, smile about it, like just enjoy it. When you are washing yourself with a loofah or washcloth or whatever you use, close your eyes. Take a moment to be present with your body. Notice the pressure that you're using. Notice the areas that you're touching, feeling the soap on your body, smelling, like noticing all of your senses. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear while you are in that shower? When you are washing your hair, again, slow the fuck down. Do you ever notice that I feel like we all go a little crazy when we're massaging or like scrubbing our scalp? Like slow down. Pretend that you are getting a hair wash at a salon and they're just like really getting in there. You can get in there just as much even if you go slower. I personally really like using one of those like scalp massage brushes in the shower. That has been a game changer. I've been using it for a couple of years now, and I love that because I don't know, it kind of automatically causes me to go a little bit slower than just using my hands. And it just feels really good. And I get to like tune into all the like scalp sensations. And then another one of my favorite tips is at the end of your shower, before you step out, close your eyes for a second. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your stomach, or whatever feels right in the moment. It doesn't have to be that, but just take a quick second, take a deep breath in and out, and have gratitude for your mind and for your body. And what I like to do is as I'm having that deep breath out, I seal an intention for the day or the evening whenever you're taking that shower, like for whatever it is that you want to call in. I love the idea that any doorway we are stepping through is a portal. And so when we are stepping in and out of the shower, we are calling in intention. We are utilizing this portal to literally call in or release whatever we want or don't need. Okay, so moving on to when you are cooking and or eating. So I want you to shift your mindset to like, I'm not just making food, right? I'm literally creating energy that is going to be within your body, which is going to become part of your body. Parts of the food that you digest, literally your body absorbs, right? And so it's really important to first have that shift in mentality. And before you start cooking, take a deep breath before you touch anything in your kitchen. Ask, what energy do I want within this meal? What do I want this to feel like? Do I want it to feel calming? Do I want it to feel energizing? Do I want it to be a celebratory meal? Do I want it to feel really nurturing? And then this one's a little bit hard, but try to cook without multitasking. So try to do it without scrolling, without listening to podcasts. Yes, even maybe without music. Just you, and maybe with music if you feel like that will help you get to that kind of meditative state, if you will, but just focus on the experience itself. And once again, tune back into all of the sensations that you are feeling, hearing, seeing, touching, all the things. Treat it like a meditation, but like in motion. So you can feel like the texture of like the produce or the other food ingredients that you're using. You can feel the weight of the knife or the utensils that you're using. If you are rinsing anything, you can notice the temperature of the water that you're using. It allows you to really stay in the present moment. When we move into like actually eating the food, add a piece of gratitude. And it doesn't have to be cheesy. It doesn't have to be like super cringe or anything. You don't need like a whole prayer unless you want to, which is beautiful as well. Just a quick like, this is going to nourish me. May this nourish my body. Coming back to the intention that you set when you were making the food. May this allow my body, my mind, my soul to feel blank. Next tip is for at least the first 3 bites, try to eat without distraction. Now, the reason I say the first 3 bites is because like, I feel like sometimes eating a meal without having any distraction in this day and age is like virtually impossible. If you can achieve that, amazing. Let's try that. But if that feels like overwhelming, like there's no way I can't check my phone or like turn the TV on or whatever, try at least for the first 3 bites and savor those bites. Again, slow the fuck down, eat a little bit slower, but just taste. Like, a lot of times when we are eating, we don't even register like what we're eating or what the sensations are, the textures, the flavors, all of that until we're like halfway through the meal and we're like amnesia, like what the fuck just happened? And then just be mindful as you are eating. When you are in the middle of your meal, think about like, okay, am I still hungry? Or am I just like on autopilot and I'm just gonna like eat everything on my plate because I'm so used to doing that? Genuinely check in with yourself, and not from like a diet mentality. Like, we're not trying to sit there and like shame ourselves if we are still hungry and we want to eat the rest of our food. The goal here is just taking yourself back into the present moment as you are eating so you're not on autopilot. And then you can honestly utilize a lot of these strategies and some of the ones I talked about with the shower when you're doing the dishes afterwards, like slowing down, feeling all of the sensations that are going on, no distractions, all of that. Okay, moving on to the next daily task is walking. I want to say like walking your dog, but I will also like if you don't have a dog, you can still utilize some of these. But I'm going to talk a lot about like when you're walking your dog because I feel like a lot of people have them. First of all, I want to point out that walking is one of the easiest ways to regulate your nervous system. But a lot of people just turn it into like another activity to disassociate with because they're like all up in their head or they're on their phone the whole time, talking on the phone, just like trying to pass the time. But going on a walk can be such a beautiful, intentional journey. And so I have some tips for you. Number one, if you are walking a dog, let your dog set the pace. Like, dogs are naturally present. We know that, right? They are so in every single moment. And sometimes when we let them kind of wander, we let them sniff, it's like we're taking a moment to just live in their world and just be present and be mindful for a moment. Sometimes it can feel a little bit frustrating when our dog is like sniffing every 2 seconds. And at the same time, if you do have the time, just be with them, just let them. And one thing that I love doing, because I will admit I get pretty annoyed when my dog has to stop and smell every 2 seconds. When we are like on a roll and we're walking, I just let her like not only guide the pace, but guide like where we're going. I am someone who does not like to go the same route every time. I don't ever want my dog to be like too in a routine where she's like, nope, we go this way, we go that way. So we go a different way every single time we walk. And I just kind of let her guide. I'm like, where are we going today? And it's actually really fun. It's like an adventure every time, even though obviously we know our lay of the land. Next tip is to do like a no input walk per day. So like trying it out, raw dogging it, like no podcasts, no phone conversations, no music, just listening to the sounds around you, using it as a moving meditation. Now, similar to how I suggested, like just the first 3 bites of your meal without distractions, you could try that with these walks. Maybe the first 5 minutes, you are like, hey, I'm going to have no distractions. And that is so fair. Maybe you build from that and you start saying, okay, 7 minutes without distractions, 10 minutes without distractions. You get to the point where maybe you can do a whole walk without any distractions. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love listening to a podcast or an audiobook or having a phone conversation as I'm walking. Or even like I love walking to music and like kind of making it a movement meditation with music, like pairing my movements with the music. And there is a lot to be said for silent walking and just like taking in the environment around you. So I'm definitely a proponent for both as long as it's done with intention. A tip that's similar to what I just shared about like walking to the music is syncing your breath with the steps that you're taking. So maybe you are inhaling for 4 steps and you're exhaling for 4 steps or whatever your pace is. It's a really subtle way of regulating your nervous system in addition to just the movement itself. Another one is try to notice like at least 3 things on each walk. Maybe you notice like a house you've never looked at, or maybe you notice a sign that you haven't seen. Or maybe you notice like, oh, the air feels different today. It feels more humid or it's raining out or whatever. Maybe you notice like a different animal sound. Maybe you pass by another dog you've never seen. This allows your brain to step out of that autopilot mode and start being in the present moment and observing the environment around you. And then finally, using your walk as a transitional ritual. So maybe setting an intention before you walk, and then as you are walking, mentally like focusing on calling in whatever that is and releasing whatever is blocking that from coming in. And then when you get home, again, using that doorway as an energetic portal, knowing that you are leaving whatever you needed to out there and you are bringing in whatever intention you had with you. You know, I got to pop into the middle of this episode to remind you about the amazing sale that we have going on for Lucid Hydration. LucidHydration.com, that is my husband and my business. Clean electrolytes, functional mushrooms, nootropic herbs, and we are trying to sell out of the product that we have currently so that we're not sitting on a bunch of stock as we take a little hiatus to welcome our baby girl into the world. Head to our website, lucidhydration.com. You get an automatic 30% off every order. And I just announced my next holistic wellness retreat happening in Sedona, Arizona, September 3rd to the 7th. I have a few early bird spots available. I would love to set up a discovery call with you to see if this is a good fit for you. We are going deeper than ever on this particular retreat, and I cannot wait. So make sure that you grab that early bird spot, only $222 down to reserve that spot, and then payment plans available from there. All right, back to our topic. And finally, one of my favorites, and I actually was thinking about doing a whole episode on this. I have in the past done workshops virtually about this, and I would be happy to host that. But also, if you just want an episode about it, reach out to me, let me know, and I will do one. Intentional social media scrolling. Now, the workshop that I was just talking about was more just like creating your social media as a very intentional space, which I feel like a lot of us can use right now. But I'm talking specifically about scrolling right now. A lot of us scroll just to like numb the fuck out, right? But you can actually turn that scrolling into something more conscious instead of something that's going to drain you. So number one, I bet you can guess what it's going to be. Set an intention before you open whatever app you want to scroll on. Don't just like mindlessly open it. And also, I think that it's not necessarily honest with yourself if you're opening it and you're going like, my intention is to not scroll, because we all do it, whether we want to admit it or not. I am so guilty of scrolling all the time, even though I always have the intention of like, okay, I'm going to open this in order to work. I'm going to do 3 posts or whatever. I end up scrolling at some point. Okay. So this has been a game changer when I'm like, I'm opening this to find inspiration. I'm opening this to connect with people. I'm opening this to distract myself. That can genuinely be an intention. The next one is when you do inevitably start scrolling, recognize how your body is feeling as you are scrolling. Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? Are you breathing shallow or deep? Because a lot of times social media is going to dysregulate your body way more than you'll realize. Even just the fact that you're getting such quick hits of dopamine with every scroll. Maybe you find a longer form content on your feed and you're like starting to read the caption, or maybe you're starting to watch the longer video and you're like, oh my God, like this is kind of long. I like really want to scroll, but I actually am interested in this topic. Give it a second. Sit with it. Sit with that piece of content and like think of it as an energy exchange between the person that created that piece of content and you. And if it is something that's calling to you and it feels resonant and you're interested in it, override that like ADHD tendency that I feel like we all have nowadays and sit with it, because you might really like learn something. And on the other side, you might be really proud of like, oh wow, I sat with that whole 5-minute video. Look at me go, and I learned something new. Next tip is to curate your feed just like you curate your vibes at home. And if you listen to this podcast, guaranteed, at least in some way in your home, you've got a curated vibe. If there is something or someone that makes you consistently feel anxious, irritated, jealous, inadequate, like you're not doing enough, like you aren't pretty enough, like you don't have enough, like you're not making enough, that is clutter. And when you unfollow, or when you click the little button that says, I don't want to see this content or whatever, that is energetic hygiene. And that is so fucking powerful. You have that power. you can do that, and it will actually make your feed so much better. Like I said, the workshop that I've led in the past has a lot to do with how to do that in a really concise way. Next tip is when you notice that you're like scroll, like every 2 seconds, you're just like, ugh. Notice that what you're trying to do is find a quick dopamine hit. Because you're not stopping on any of those videos, they're not hitting that dopamine the way that you're wanting it to. It's like not that hit, you know? So recognize, whoa, I just scrolled like 10 videos in a row within like 10 seconds. Let me take a chill pill. Let me chill for a second. Let me maybe even close the app completely and come back to it and let the algorithm reset or something. Just to take that quick moment to step out of that autopilot and recognize, observe, come back to the present moment. And then if you feel like you need to keep scrolling, go for it, but at least you have that quick moment of presence. And then once again, coming back to intention when you are done scrolling. So maybe once you're done scrolling, you can go send someone you love a supportive message, or end it on a video that made you think of someone and you sent it to them and you're like, okay, I'm done. Or maybe you found a recipe that like you're actually going to try this week and you're like, okay, cool. Got the inspiration that I was looking for, right? Bring it back to that intention at the beginning. Maybe you set an intention at the beginning of your scrolling saying, I am going to connect, and you leave a really nice comment on someone's video and you're like, okay, cool. And then close the app and take a really deep breath, and that will help to stop that like, oh my God, what the fuck did I just spend 30 minutes doing spiral? Because again, it happens to all of us. Unfortunately, that is just the world we live in. There is no reason to like let yourself completely spiral with that. My point in sharing all of these tips with you is that the real power is not in like adding more habits or routines into your day. The power is in being more aware and creating more presence and intention and consciousness into everything that we already have to do, because this is human life. And if you are meditating for an hour every single day, but you're still doing all of these tasks like you're getting chased by a bear, that meditation for an hour every day is not doing shit for you. Okay, maybe that's a little dramatic. Maybe it's doing something, but it's not doing quite as much as it could if you were doing that and bringing in intentionality into all of those mundane tasks. Like these are all things that we are doing anyway: showering, eating, walking, scrolling. And what we're doing is essentially just upgrading those daily habits to more conscious, more intentional. And the more that you practice these things, the more that you are going to start to feel like your life has more meaning, like you are more present without even like really trying. So I hope that these tips help you. I hope that maybe it like even sparked some new ideas for you in other aspects of your daily routines. I would love to hear any that you were like, oh my God, that is so simple, but makes so much sense and I've never thought of it. Reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation about it. It gets lonely podcasting sometimes. I feel like I'm talking to myself, so I want to hear from you guys.